Okay, guys, I must comment on this article I read today because it kind of hits close to home where I live. Just right up the road here in Lynchburg. The title of the article is Jerry Falwell Jr. to pen political book with gay marriage advocate, evolution adherent, ex-President Jimmy Carter. A Republican and a Democrat. You're going to write a book together. Jerry Falwell Jr., the president of Liberty University, which hails itself as the world's largest Christian university, said that he's writing a book with former Democratic President Jimmy Carter, the specifics of which have not yet been announced. Falwell also shared the report on social media, writing, "I believe a political revolution is underway in our great nation. Instead of conservative versus liberal, the future will be progressive elites versus freedom-loving average Americans." Okay. As previously reported, Carter has raised eyebrows several times in recent years over his statements about Christianity. He told the Huffington Post that he believes Jesus would approve of same-sex marriage, and really, any love affair. "I believe Jesus would. I don't have any verse in Scripture," he said. "I believe Jesus would approve of gay marriage, but that's just my own personal belief." Huh, you got that right. "I think Jesus would encourage any love affair if it was honest and sincere and was not damaging to anyone else. And I don't see that gay marriage damages anyone else." Okay, well, in the Levitical law here, in Leviticus 18:22, it says, "You shall not lie with a male as with a woman. It is an abomination." Leviticus 20:13, "If a man lies with a male as with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall be put to death. Their blood is upon them." Well, Mr. Carter might say, well, that's Old Testament. We don't live by the Levitical law. Well, no, we don't. But I can get more current with Mr. Carter in Romans chapter 1, verses 26 through 27. "For this cause God gave them up unto vile affections, for even their women did change the natural use in that which is against nature. And likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burned in their lust one toward another, men with men, working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error which was meet. And even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient." He doesn't have any scripture for it because evidently he hadn't dabbled in the first chapter of Romans. And it goes on. He says here that the earth is 4 billion years old. And he says he's a scientist and that he believes in evolution. Well, he's subject to his opinions with his 4 billion years. I'm subject to mine. I'd say around 6,000 years old. Last year, Carter advised liberal op-ed columnist Nicholas Kristof that he can't judge whether or not someone is a Christian despite their doubts about Christ's virgin birth and the resurrection. Well, that's just the virgin birth. It just happens to be one of the most paramount prophecies in the entire Bible. And again, my opinion. This Kristof reporter said, "One of my problems with evangelicalism is that it normally argues that one can be saved only through a personal relationship with Jesus, which seems to consign Gandhi to hell. Do you believe that?" The reporter asked that. And Carter replied, "I do not feel qualified to make a judgment. I am inclined to give him or others the benefit of the doubt." Now he's giving people the benefit of the doubt if they're saved or not. Well, in Acts chapter 4, verse 12, it says, "Neither is there salvation in any other, for there is none other name under heaven given among men whereby we must be saved. And if you read the first couple verses before and after that, you'll know that they're speaking of Jesus Christ. Okay, and then we go on here to Falwell. He's got some things to say too. Falwell has been a vocal supporter of Trump, stating through Trump's presidential campaign that the then candidate Trump bears the fruit of one being born again because of his characteristic of good deeds. This is a quote from Falwell Jr. I've seen his generosity to strangers, to his employees, his warm relationship with his children, he told CNN. I'm convinced he's a Christian. I believe he has faith in Jesus Christ. Well, I'm going to go ahead and say he's a Christian because he knows about 2 Corinthians. That's a joke. Falwell contended that those who expressed concerns about Trump's behavior were violating the Judge Not clause in Matthew 7:1. Falwell said, Jesus said, judge not, lest ye be judged. He sure did. Then he says, let's stop trying to choose the political leaders who we believe are the most godly, because in reality only God knows people's hearts. You and I don't, and we're all sinners. Yes, but you also know people by their fruit, do you not? I've got an apple tree out here. The wasps and fire ants have been getting into a bunch of them, but half the canopy of the tree has good apples. I'm not going to go for the rotten fruit ones just because I like apples, am I? No. Okay, Falwell then said, and these are students getting ready to make comments in this article that I'm going to read, said Falwell asserted that in their immaturity of youth, they are wrongfully ignoring the teachings of Jesus on judging. And this is a student saying this, quoting, Donald Trump does not represent our values and we want nothing to do with him, one student had written in a circulated statement. It generated over 1,000 signatures of support from students, faculty, and alumni. He has made his name by maligning others and bragging about his sins. Not only is Donald Trump a bad candidate for president, he is actively promoting the very things that we as Christians ought to oppose. We don't want to champion Donald Trump. We want only to be champions for Christ. And then Falwell says, this student's statement seems to ignore the teachings of Jesus not to judge others. But they are young and still learning. It's a hell of a thing to say about your students, isn't it? Falwell's Twitter account is predominantly filled with political posts. He retweeted the following remark from vloggers Diamond and Silk regarding allegations that Trump once had an affair with porn star Stormy Daniels. We don't give a freaking, flying, flipping fish about something that happened over 10,000 years ago. We didn't vote for the Pope, a priest, or a pastor. We voted for a president. Our president did nothing wrong, so leave him, expletive, alone. Wow. Anyway, that's the gist of the article there. I wanted you guys to hear that, in case you're, even our Christian universities have become like the world and accepting the ways and things of the world and getting quite a mouth on them as well. So, leave Donald Trump, the expletive, alone? Fair enough. Until next time.